see. I want to record. So I don't know where the recording is, sha, but please let's pick it somewhere. All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Mark Onoja, and I want to say a big thank you to DBA for inviting me to come share some small wisdom with us this evening. Um, yeah, so I'm going to be teaching you on pitching. So I'm going to make this very fast. You guys can hear me, right? I'm very clear. There's no distraction in the background.
Yes,
Oh, okay, fine. So I'm
you're very clear.
okay, fine. So I'm going to teach us about pitching. I do this normally, right? I prepare entrepreneurs for pitch, and I've done that several times in DBA. So what we used to normally do this, we normally call it DBA Module 1, Module 2, then Module 3. So usually that time, Module 1, uh, most times when we do like that pitching, my guys are normally used to be the ones to manage. They're the ones that usually win, because I understand the fact that if you want to basically pitch, there are some certain things you guys will need to do. And based on your schedule, you need to pitch on Friday, if I'm correct, and you need to pitch to some investors. So I'm just going to teach you pitch. It's a crash course, right? I knew I was going to take your class. I took some tests yesterday, so and I had a long day, so I couldn't have too much time to do too much detailed preparation. But I just came up with a slide and I will run you through on how to pitch. Um, then you will pitch perfectly, and you'll be able to get the results you intend from your pitching. So let's start. So my classes are usually very interactive. So let me set some ground rules. Number one, when I ask questions, please, when anybody answer, every answer given during my classes are correct. So that is the first one. So just know that any answer you give is correct. So if I ask a question and you type anything or you mute yourself and your answer, it is very correct. It may not be correct for the context of the class, but we're going to make it correct. That's one. Two, please try as much as possible to avoid distraction. Let's just focus. In the next 30 minutes, I'm done so that we can have the rest evening to ourselves. So let's get started. So pitching, right? I heard what you guys were saying. I didn't join early. I joined like 5 minutes into the class. So I heard what some of you guys said as regards to the classes you have been doing from 8 o'clock. Somebody said he's here to start his business. Some other person said he or she have started his business, which is very awesome. The whole idea about why people pitch is that they are trying to cut a form of resources or a form of strategic relationship with someone, right? So, can you guys see my screen? Hello?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
we
can.
can.
Okay, fine.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yeah,
Okay, fine.
somehow now.
So,
Yeah.
pitching. So, I came up with a short slide. So, pitching refers to presenting a business idea, a product, or a service to a potential investor, a customer, or a partner with the goal of persuading them to support or invest in your idea. Now, one of the things you need to understand is that if you basically want to do business, most of the times you don't have all the resources to do a business, especially when you're a startup. Now, startup has different levels because Dangote starting refinery is a startup, but it's not a startup like who should I use for example? Riola and Co. starting a business or Dr. Kemi starting a business. There are two different kind of startups. So most startups usually don't have that much resources. So most times you would have to cut investors, means people that have to drop cash for you, um, propose to customers, and sometimes propose to partners, propose to suppliers, and you do this through what they call pitching. So pitching has to do with how you present your ideas to persons or present your business to persons with the aim of getting resources from them and getting the specific supports that you need. Now, usually your pitch has to be concise, it has to be compelling. Your presentation has to be aimed at generating interest and securing the investment or the resources or the partnership that you want. So it has to be concise, means it has to be straight to the point and very short. Now, I know a lot of us here are well read. You should have heard about the word called elevator pitch. Elevator pitch, the whole idea about elevator pitch is that they're assuming that There's a 15-second elevator pitch, there's a 30-second, there's 45 seconds, there's 1 minute, there's 2 minutes, there's 5 minutes. So it just depends on the case scenario. But most times you just assume that you are inside an elevator and you are with the CEO of a company, and the drive from downstairs to say the 10th floor. We hardly find 10th floor in this part of the world, right? But they are still 10th floor. But you are just, let's just assume we are in the ground floor and you are driving with the CEO to the 10th floor, and you just have like 15 to 20 seconds, and you need to share with him an idea that can revolutionize his business or can make him say, okay, I want to promote this guy from just a normal technical staff to a manager. That is just the idea about an elevator pitch. So on Friday, a lot of us are going to pitch. So I'm going to run you through how to pitch. Now, what I'm going to share with you may not be based on what some of you have read. But mind you, I have taught a lot of persons this stuff. I think the last person that I was sharing this idea on how to pitch and running him through pitching is that we're currently trying to raise $250 million for his business. He's trying to do some hydropower projects. So I do that very well. And somebody else, I taught this same stuff I'm going to be teaching you. She pitched for Nigeria Creative, one Creative Entrepreneurship Cup. She was top top. She was number one in Southwest. She became number one in Nigeria. She won. She didn't give me tights. And she was invited to Saudi Arabia and she became number 20 out of 44,000 people in the world. So what I'm going to be sharing with you, like I said, is very simple. If you apply it, it's going to work. So let's start. So basically, how do we pitch? So I'm just going to share 6 things with us. The first thing is that you introduce yourself. So the first part of it is called introduction. So introducing yourself, you introduce yourself, your business, and why you are standing in front of them. So everything I'm going to share with you, you have to put it within the time frame that you're giving. So if you are giving 5 minutes, stick to 40 minutes, 30 seconds. If you are giving 10 minutes, please stick to 9 minutes, 30 seconds. Don't eat that time because sometimes you will need to wrap up everything. So the first thing you do is that you have to introduce yourself. Tell us your name, what's your business name, and why you're standing in front of them. Most times you tell them, I'm standing in front of you because I want to pitch for this. Now, the next thing you need to do is that you need to share the story behind your business. What led you to start? Now, most times, can you guys still hear me? So I know I'm not talking to myself. Hello? If you can hear me, type I.
Yeah, we can
Okay.
hear you.
Just type I.
We can
Okay,
hear
okay, okay,
you.
okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
loud and
That's why we
clear.
are
Okay,
quiet.
okay,
Yes, we
okay,
can hear
okay.
you.
All right, fine. So, all right, good. So let's continue. So most times, um, people copy this Shark Tank. I watch Shark Tank a lot, right? They copy this Shark Tank or they copy this what's the name of this other one? Shark Tank Dragon's Den. I said, can if you imagine this and that. Well, that is a way to do that stuff, but it's not everybody that an investor. I don't want to imagine. The only imagination in my mind is I want to make money. So I may not have time to too much doing imagination. So, but you can share the story to which you started your business. Every business had a story that made them start. So let's talk, for example, say God wants to pitch to us why he came to the world as Jesus Christ. He's going to talk about the story of how Adam fell. Or he's even going to talk about the story from the foundation of the world where he proposed that man is going to be in his image, man is going to do a lot of great things. He created man, man fell and stuff. So he's going to talk about a story. So you can just talk about a short story that made you start. Now, one of the things you need to understand when you're talking about story is that your story has to be compelling and it has to trigger people's emotions. Let me repeat myself. Your story has to be compelling and it has to trigger people's emotions. In fact, I've seen pitching that somebody came to pitch because of her story was more emotional, she won. I've seen person came to pitch. She came with her baby. She won because of she came with her baby and she was talking about how she got pregnant because of pregnancy and she was not able to go out and do stuff. So she decided to start business to help other women. She won because of that. Why? Because of her story was compelling. Now, one of the things you need to understand, and please don't never forget this thing in your entire life, as far as you're on this earth, we are all emotional beings. We make decision emotionally, and we use logic to justify why we make our decision. So you first say yes emotionally, then you use logic to justify. I don't really have time, so I can't talk too much stories. So, but just put it there. I would have showed without some stories. So that is how. So that is first thing you do. You do introduction. The next thing you're going to do after the introduction is that what does your business do? So what does your business do involves number one, share about the problem you notice in the marketplace. The fundamental part of any business is that a business is an entity that was set up to provide solution to the problems in the marketplace and get rewarded for it. Simple and short. Straight. That is just a thing about business. If you are doing anything else, you're in NGO or you're in ministry. In fact, NGO self solve problem, ministry to solve problems. Everybody's in the business of solving problems. So you share about the problem you notice in the marketplace that you have decided to solve. Next is that you're going to talk about what is your target market and what is the available market that you are focused on. So it's simple. I am into fashion design. I noticed that women find it very hard to go out because they have to take time to look for one dress or another. So I decided to create a simple gown for women to wear, aka Bubu. I discovered that in Lagos, that's my target market, there are 20 million people in Lagos and there are 10 million women in Lagos, and I'm targeting 1 million that stays within the urban part of Lagos mainland. Simple and short. If I'm an investor, I know you are very serious. Why? Because you have told me what's your target market, you have told me the problem in the marketplace, and the people you are focusing on. All right. So the next thing you do is that you share about the specific solution that your product and services is bringing to the marketplace and what makes you unique. So you're going to tell them, okay, this is my product and this is what makes me unique. So this is a specific solution and bring it to the marketplace. So let's just do a recap on this, what your business do. Number one, you talk about your problem, the problem you have noticed in the marketplace. You talk about the market size and you talk about what your solution is. And mind you, your solution, what you are selling, your products and services should be a solution or should solve the problem you have noticed. So no assumptions. It should solve that problem that you have noticed. Next thing, number three, what is your business model? So your business model talks about how you create value, how you deliver value, and how you capture value. Simple and short. Let's talk about your operation. How do you run your business as a person? So cover to cover, how do I run a business as a person? Right? This is how I do business day by day. To enable me create value means do my production, deliver value means deliver value to the hands of customers and make sure that it does well. And of course, capture value, make money, make income. So if you're a fashion designer, why am I talking about fashion? Let's talk about something else. If you're an interior designer, how do you create value? You get the project, you do the design, you outsource your projects to a third party, you manage the entire process, you deliver results to them, and you get paid. That is a summary of how you run business, right? It's called business model. How you create value, how you capture value, and how you deliver value. Now, number four, I told you six things, and this class is very short, so you could cash everything. So, number six, traction. So, when you talk about traction, anytime you're going to pitch to people, you must talk about traction. I'm going to dwell in this traction a lot. So, your traction covers number one, you share how much revenue and percentage profit you have made as a business since inception year on year. So say for example, your business started in the year 2020, pandemic year, and you are pitching to us in the year 2025. I expect you to share with us that between the year 2020 and the year 2025, what have your business achieved? Like how much revenue have you made from 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024? And so far in 2025, how much have you made? And if it is possible, you can also get to share what is your percentage profits. So you can just say in year 2020, I made 1 million. In 2022, in 2021, I turned it to 3 million. In 2024, in 2023, 2022, sorry, it became 5 million and stuff. And on the average, we do 20% as profits in our business. Any investor that hears you say that will know that you're a serious person. Number one, you know your revenue. Number two, you know how much you're making as profit. And mind you, there's a difference between revenue and profit. Revenue, another word for revenue is income. Another word for revenue is sales. That is revenue. when money comes into your business, right? Now, profit. Profit talks about after you've removed your cost of goods sold and you also remove, what's the name of this other part? You also remove your operational costs. So when you remove your operational costs and you remove your cost of goods sold, what you are left with is called your profit. Now, profit is different from revenue. Most people just think if you make sales, that is your profit. Now it's two different things. There's also there's cost of goods sold and there is operational cost. It's not my class, right? So somewhere else to teach you all of this things, maybe your finance class. Then the next thing you share when it comes to traction is that you share on the impact your business has made to your community, such like job creation or social economic activities that you have engaged in. So traction is very important. No person investing. Let me just be very frank with you guys. Most investors right now don't invest in idea stage business or they don't do pre-seed. Most investors, I'm saying, most people don't even like to do seed. It's from Series A. If I was speaking terms of startup terms, they want to be invest in businesses that have a form of traction. Traction for you as a business person, please and please target that your traction is transaction, not downloads. I'll repeat myself. Not downloads, not inquiries. Those are not serious traction. The real traction is that I've started doing business, I've started transacting, and I'm making some fine form of profit from what I'm selling. That is real traction, and that is what you're supposed to focus on. If you don't have that, chances are to go and stand in front of investor may be very difficult. So I will suggest to you go through the route of your personal savings or your friends and family. All right. I'll take questions at the end of the day. So I'm saying some charts. Then, of course, you share on the asset or clientele base you have acquired as a business since inception. So you can share that, oh, since we started, we have been able to buy a generator, we have been able to buy 5 sewing machines, we now have since we started we have 100 clientele base. These are traction. These are another word from traction is proof, results. Yeah, proof and results or outcome of what your economic activities has brought for you so far. But your traction, the basic part of your traction that people or investors look at for very well is financial traction. Please note that. And asset traction. So you see financial traction, see assets traction, see clientele traction. These three, they look at it very well. Things like downloads, things like likes, things like share. A serious investor will not look at things like that. So let's move forward. Your ask. So when it comes to your ask, means what are you asking for? So share in details how much you are looking for. Number one, what you will use it for. Number two, what will be the outcome of the investment in terms of revenue and productivity to your business? So let us do it this way. Number one, how much are you looking for? So you need to share in detail. The person that is writing on my screen, please, so please don't stop your annotation. Thank you. So you need to share how much you're looking for, right? How much am I looking for? So tell them I'm looking for 10 million naira. Number two, what specifically are you going to be using the 10 million naira for? Spray it in details. In details. I'm going to use 1 million naira for this, 2 million naira for this, 3 million naira for that. You need to be specific. What will be the outcome of the investment? Okay, if you put this money into my business, this is what is going to be the outcome. Quote and unquote, return on investment. This is what is going to come out as a result of you investing in my business, right? Is it going to increase your productivity, therefore increasing your revenue or increasing your profitability by 20% or 30%? You need to be able to note that. Then share the non-monetary help that you need. So sometimes you also get to share our ask is that we need some people to come and sit on our board. Somebody that is good with finance, somebody that is good with legal, somebody that is good with growth strategy, somebody that has a leg in the political arena in the government house. So you basically share that. Then finally you invite them. So you invite them to invest in your business and join you on the journey to change the world. So at the end of the day, you do a closing statement and you invite them to join you. So you invite them to invest in your business. Then you answer questions by being proactive. So let me just talk about this question part. Um, I read a book by Brian Tracy in one certain time, and one of the things he talked about sales and selling is that the best way for you to be able to sell is for you to um initiate the narrative and control the sales or control the narrative by understanding what are the frequently asked questions and knowing the answers to those questions. So when I was training the people that I've trained for pitch, most times I tell them that know, do a research on the kind of questions that they will ask you and have answers to those questions. So anytime they ask you those questions, you can be able to answer quickly. So my last uh, encouragement to you is to take action, right? So number one, we talked about introduction, introduce yourself, introduce your company. Number two, we talked about you talking about what you do. What is the problem? What is your solution? What market you're addressing? Number three, we talked about what's your business model. How do you run your business? How do you create value? How do you capture value? And how do you deliver value? Number four, we talked about traction. Yes, we talked about traction. What have you achieved so far when you're doing your business in terms of monetary achievement, assets, clientele? What have you achieved so far since you started running your business year on year? Then we then talked about asks. What are you asking for? What specific help do you need? The monetary one, you have to be specific and what it is going to do for the business. And of course, finally, I talked about you have to be proactive when answering your questions and know the kind of questions they will ask you, right? And get the answers before you stand there. And finally, I'll also share with you, try as much as possible and be very bold. Even when you're saying something rubbish, be very, very bold. Don't sound don't sound like somebody that is desperate, right? You have to keep that. Be very bold, be very sure that you are very confident and you'll be fine. So thank you very much. And questions. Hello.
Hello. Thank you.
Ah.
I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you, but somebody's network is really,
Okay.
really scratching. Okay, thank you. So I'm done. I'm done. I finished before my time, so it's less than 1 minute. So I was pitching too.